Hello all and welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Jessica Mix and I am the Director of Enrollment here at Carondelet High School, and we're so glad to have you all with us tonight. I'm going to introduce some of my counterparts that are here with me and that will also be speaking to you tonight, and then I'm going to turn it over to get our program started. So we have Annette Eros, who is our president, Kevin Cushing, our principal, a lovely student who has joined us tonight, Nicole Abudayeh, our Vice Principal of Academics, Elizabeth Chaponot, and our Assistant Director of Enrollment, Ashley Clemens. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Annette for our opening remarks.
Hi, welcome parents and to our future Cougars who joined us tonight. Thanks for joining us virtually to learn more about what life at Carondelet is like. So my name, as Jessica shared, is Annette Eros, and I am the president here at Carondelet High School. And I think tonight it's appropriate to get started with a prayer. And I know that we're living in uncertain times right now, and as 8th graders, you are all contemplating a big decision, which is to choose which high school you're going to go to next year. And obviously we're here to help you with that tonight. But I kept that in mind when I chose our prayer tonight. So start out in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. My God, I breathe out my fear and breathe in your strength. I breathe out my confusion and breathe in your peace. I breathe out my doubt and breathe in your love. I praise you with every breath I take. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. So I'm proud to share that I am a Carondelet alum and pleased to join other 15 faculty and staff members who are also former students. And I think it says a lot about the positive experience that we all had at Carondelet that we chose in our lives to come back and share the Carondelet experience with a new generation of students. I have a long career in organizational leadership and specifically with nonprofits, and I'm thrilled to have joined the staff here at Carondelet last school year. It was very easy to recognize that this outstanding group of caring adults on campus are so committed and passionate and resourceful, and they generously give of their hearts and their smarts to our students every day. It's really a great environment for our girls to be seen as individuals and to help them thrive and grow in an educational environment that prepares them for the future. We'll be talking about this over the course of the night, but there's really something special about the sisterhood here at Carondelet. We each experience it in different ways, and so much of it is nourished by the students, the girls themselves, what they give each other, but it's also fostered in an environment that's specifically curated to educate the whole student. And at Carondelet, that means her heart, her mind, and her spirit. Our approach at Carondelet is rooted in Catholic tradition, specifically the charism of our founders, the Sisters of St. Joseph. And much of this approach focuses on justice, on human dignity, on environmental justice, and on serving thy dear neighbor without distinction. And we have shaped those areas of focus into our institutional values, which are heart, faith, courage, and excellence. And these are represented in all aspects of school life here at Carondelet. We believe that every girl deserves the opportunity to succeed in college and beyond. And so we work to prepare and empower every student to accomplish their personal and academic goals, to become confident leaders in the classroom, in the community, and more. And we understand that opportunities in the future will look much different than they do now. So we prepare our students to be critical thinkers and lifelong learners, to be collaborative and innovative while recognizing the opportunities they have to make the world a better place, and to do that as individual contributors, but also as a sisterhood. And while we recognize that Carondelet offers all of the proven benefits of a single gender educational experience, our collaborative relationship with De La Salle High School across the street provides a really unique opportunity for our girls to choose co-ed classes when they're juniors or seniors, and also participate in coordinated activities and traditions and student body experiences that really enhance her experience. And just as I did, the girls here at Carondelet form friendships that last a lifetime and benefit from a community that has shared values. We, at the same time, we value diversity and foster an environment that allows the girls to explore new perspectives and experiences. The strength of our community comes from diversity, but it also comes from unity. And the girls here raise the bar for each other, which is an element of strength. And while we strive for excellence, we also know that some of the best lessons we learn in life are when we have setbacks or failures. And it's important to be part of a community that allows for and supports these types of experiences that allow us to grow. So every student's journey here at Carondelet is personalized from day one and nurtured through caring educators through 4 years so that our students can grow into the individual that represents their interests and their potential. Principal Cushing is going to share with you a little bit more about our academics here on campus, but I just really want to reiterate that what also sets Carondelet apart is the feeling here. And it's hard to get that virtually, but it is very special. And there's a sense of belonging, a sense of sisterhood, a sense of spirit, of confidence and heart that develops over the course of each student's journey here. And it really is a privilege to be part of this educational ministry with the colleagues that I have to shape the future of so many young women. And I really believe that you won't find a more dedicated, talented, passionate faculty than you'll find here at Carondelet. So we thank you for being with us tonight to learn more about what makes Carondelet so special. And with that, I will hand it over to Principal Cushing, who will share more about our approach with academics and beyond. So Kevin?
Thank you, Annette. I appreciate it. So this is my 6th year as the principal at Carondelet and my 34th year in Catholic education. Jess asked me to let everyone know that. That makes me old. Though I did start at 4. I want to take the opportunity, and I'm gonna provide a lot of data pieces because we are very proud of what we're doing at Carondelet. As we begin to really move into the phase where we're coming back on campus in our hybrid plan, now that we're in the red, and fingers crossed we stay there for the next 2 weeks, we really were uniquely qualified to move to distance learning and then back into the hybrid. We had developed blended classes. We provided opportunities for students to participate in online learning through College of the Siskiyous, through a program we have for early college credit. So that move was actually very seamless, but I can't tell you how excited we are to have our young women back on campus in a more normal environment. And some of the things that you can look forward to when we do return to a greater normal next year are our retreat programs and our trips that we offer. In a typical year, we offer trips to France, Spain, a STEM trip to Europe. We have science trips to various locations where we're going to head to Wyoming this year. Hopefully we're able to get that in the spring. And then we have immersion trips to San Diego, Salinas, Washington, D.C. And what those really do is provide unique learning opportunities for our young women outside the 4 walls of the classroom. I think in a lot of ways we don't realize or remember how much we learn outside the classroom when we're in school, whether that's through athletics, extracurricular programs, and trips like these. They really are lifelong learning opportunities that we're very proud of. Our retreat program is unique and tailored towards each year, from our Kairos down to our junior retreats to sophomore retreats. Those were in place to a certain extent virtually this year, and we're able to offer a senior retreat that's very unique that actually places some emphasis on the COVID era and how that's impacted our young women. So that the idea behind our retreat program is it allows our young women to look at themselves from a spiritual perspective. Where am I as a young woman spiritually and in terms of my faith? And those again are really unique opportunities. Our college and career counselors will start with you your freshman year, starting to focus on not getting into the most prestigious school, but starting to look at what college will fit your daughter most or best. And they do a phenomenal job of touching base each and every year, of guiding our students through that college application process, again, beginning freshman year. And they also do a great job with financial aid. Talking to our director, Liz Pazramore, last year of the 168 graduating students that reported, their financial aid. They received over $5 million in financial aid for the colleges that they attended. And believe me, as a father of a daughter, a sophomore daughter in college, that's significant and important. We also have, and I think Dr. Chaponot is going to touch on this a little bit, we really, a few years ago, looked at what we could do to create innovative, more real world, personalized academic experiences for our young women. As we were designing the Innovation Center, which is behind me, virtually, what we heard from people in higher education and private industry was, here's the skills that we really look for and that we really don't see enough of. Developing skills related to teaming and project management, the ability to collaborate and be creative in your thinking, to effectively communicate in a variety of platforms. And so a lot of what we've done in redesigning our curriculum focuses on those traits and those attributes so that our young women are better prepared for college and work life beyond. In the midst of that innovation, though, we are very much a college prep school. Colleges are still very traditional, as much as you hear about them dropping SATs, not just for the COVID, but maybe modifying that down the road. Those standardized tests and some of the traditional metrics that they look for are still in place, and we understand that. So let me throw some geeky numbers at you. For the last 5 years, 100% of our students have gone on to college, either a 4-year or 2-year college. Our average AP test scores last year, even when we had to go to virtual learning, across the board were 7% above the national average in all the AP tests that we provided. Our SAT and ACT test scores have gone through the roof the last 3 years. Last year, our average ACT test in English was 35% above national average and 17% above national average in math, and overall 25% higher than the national average in terms of the composite score. That's how much above national average our students are achieving. And with the SAT, we are 14% higher in math. We're very proud of that. Our average math score was 60 points higher than the previous high, which is an indication that the math program we have in place is really effective and running well. We're 17% higher in English, and again, with the SAT, 15% higher above the composite or average national score amongst all our students. So in terms of preparation for college, we're doing a very good job with some of those traditional metrics. We offer 23 AP classes, and we've been recognized for the last 2 years by College Board for our AP Computer Principles class and the number of students, young women specifically, that we have enrolled in that class. And then one last thing I want to share is our early college credit program. We've partnered with a community college so that students can take online college courses that are actually transferable to the vast majority of four-year schools around the country. We've had over 500 students enroll in those classes over the last 5 years. And when we figure out the average cost of a unit for the schools our girls attend, we've saved over $700,000 in unit cost. And I can speak to that personally. As I mentioned, my daughter, who is seriously the most interesting person I know, maybe a little bit of advice. When you roll your eyes and you see your young daughter do something where you ask yourself, what are you thinking? Replace that with interesting. It helps a little bit, I think. So as I said, my daughter is the most interesting person I know. As she was looking for colleges, she was a good student. She was didn't have a real clear idea as to where she wanted to attend. So I think her top 6 list, she just said, what are the 5 or 6 most expensive colleges on the West Coast? But with her background, she applied to USD, Loyola Marymount, some other fairly prestigious schools, and actually got into those schools. And based on the feedback we got when they sent the letter, I think a lot of it was based on the fact that she took 3 of those early college credit classes. The letter said, because of your success in college coursework, we have a spot for you. And so what these early college credit courses do, along with AP classes and the other things that our students do, it really sets you apart from the milieu of students that are applying to these colleges. And it saves money. I just paid my Oregon bill, and those are 2 classes that, because they were accepted from community college, I don't have to pay for. And when you're looking at out-of-state costs, it's a godsend. So as we look at, tuition costs and things like that, we are very aware and we are looking for ways that we can actually save money down the road for our families as well. And in terms of the college selection process, so still had no idea. I need to finish my story about my daughter. Still had no real idea of where she wanted to go. Something came up where she said, I'd like to look at Oregon. After looking at all these other schools, drove up over spring break, her senior year, and within 5 minutes said, this is where I need to be. And she's as happy as she's ever been. And it was a great choice. Sometimes your college choice, it's not Harvard, Yale. It's going to come up and our students are going to find where they fit best. And that's a nice thing that we offer as well. So that's a lot. I want to now pass this over back to Jess Mix, and thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much, Kevin. So I am actually going to turn it over to one of our current students, Nicole Abudayeh, who is going to give us her perspective on life at Carondelet.
Thank you, Mrs. Mix. So hi, everybody. My name is Nicole Abudayeh, and I'm currently a junior here at Carondelet High School. And like yourselves, a few years ago, I was in a position to choose a new place to call my home for the next 4 academic years. So I had an older sister who previously went to Carondelet, and I came from Christ the King, which is a popular feeder school. So it was a pretty easy logistical decision. Yeah, I didn't just want to base my high school experience on familiarity or comfort. Instead, I wanted to genuinely find my place at the school and grow in my faith and individuality. At Carondelet, we talk a lot about what's known as the sisterhood, and initially I didn't really know what this phrase meant nor what it entailed. But now I see just how present and special it really is. It comes down to the idea of knowing that at the end of the day, you have a community of 800 plus girls who will support and stand by you no matter what. You'll see that they become more than just peers or classmates, but they're like family. And although there are many opportunities, both inside and outside of school, to form bonds with people around you, Carondelet, as a private, all-girls Catholic school, is truly unique in its foundation of unity. As an incoming freshman, I wasn't exactly sure where or if I would ever feel the connection everyone talks about. But as time has gone on, I've come to recognize and appreciate the spirit of sisterhood at Carondelet. The spirit is present every day in those halls, but I feel it most when we come together as a community, whether that be during masses, where we reflect, sing, and pray, or rallies, where our competitive class spirit is heard in our echoing class chants. But it's also there in the small, everyday encounters, whether it be staying after class to catch up with the teacher, or just receiving a smile or wave from one of my friends in the hallway. The sense of community at this school is always present, and it genuinely makes me feel safe and loved every day walking on campus. More than that, though, it gives me a sense of purpose and strength, knowing that I play a role in something bigger than myself. Not only have I been able to grow as a person through community, but also by being courageous and taking the array of opportunities Carondelet offers. Entering a new environment, whether it be friends, work, school, it's always intimidating. And no one really knows what the future holds or how to become the person they strive to be. Honestly, the best piece of advice I can give about getting those answers is just to put yourself out there and take a chance. Especially at Carondelet, there's always new ways to get involved and work towards your future. The leadership programs, countless clubs, and diverse classes are all amazing opportunities to have new learning experiences. You're also constantly surrounded by teachers, college counselors, and staff who believe in your potential and offer guidance and resources because they genuinely want to see you succeed. Personally, it's been through that first leap of faith in myself and the trust in those around me that I've overcome my fear of failure and learned to pursue my goals. Being a member of student leadership, Model United Nations, mock trial, and a lot of other groups on this campus has led me to discover a passion for international law and advocacy. And by focusing my vision on going to law school, becoming a lawyer, and hopefully working my way up to Washington, D.C., I have a clear picture of where I'm headed in my future. And yes, I know my dreams are big, but the constant support of my teachers, peers, and counselors genuinely helps me find the self-confidence and motivation to keep working towards my ambitions. So looking back on the past 3 years, I can wholeheartedly say that I luckily made the right decision to come to Crondelet. Attending this school has taught me so much, and I'm so grateful for the opportunities it's provided myself and my fellow CHS sisters. Crondelet truly brings out the best in us and prepares us to bring our light to the world as women of heart, faith, courage, and excellence. The lessons I've learned and continue to learn at this school will always be close to my heart. And I really do hope that next year I'll be able to see all of your beautiful faces as the newest additions to the Crondelet family and the sisterhood that makes this school so special every single day.
Thank you so much, Nicole. It's always fabulous to have student perspective, and you guys are definitely the best part of our day. So it's awesome to get you to represent. So thank you so much for being here. I also wanted to take a moment. We have two assistant principals on campus, two vice principals, excuse me, on campus. Dr. Elizabeth Chaponot is joining us tonight. Our Vice Principal of Student Life, Jen Reinwald, unfortunately, her daughter was taking her driving test and on par with 2020, got in a car accident mid-driving test. So she is not joining us tonight. So Dr. Chaponot is going to share the responsibilities of what both of those jobs entail. And so I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Chaponot to explain how that structure works at Crondelet.
I should probably unmute myself. It'll go better if I do that. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes, as Jessica pointed out, I'm going to be both Elizabeth Chaponot and Jennifer Reinwald for the purposes of this event, which is okay because we always pick ourselves to be twin day. And it might make sense why we do that, once you meet us, but also when you hear how our job works. I think I want to give a shout out to Nicole. That I'm then going to ask to leave because I know she's got AP Calc homework for the evening. But I wanted to give a shout out because she just, in one sentence, I think embodied everything we've been trying to create. Is her message of hope and advice to the students is just take a chance. And I think that you could not find a better catchphrase that we have been trying to build into the curriculum to ensure that our students have all the opportunities and then seize the day. So just to explain a little bit how our structure works, I am the VP for academics. I like to think of myself as the conduit so that I make sure that we have the faculty speak to each other and that we don't work in separate silos in different departments. And I try to make sure that we're connecting people and finding ways to make those connections. My role is all things learning. I also work with the academic and learning support team. I work with all academic departments, and we redo curriculum. We work on professional development and training, and it is just a dream job, honestly. And my colleague, Jennifer Reinwald, we work extremely tightly together. She is in charge of what may not seem like a big deal, but is a huge part of the Crondelet experience. We have an extraordinarily vibrant student life. She's actually student life and mission. She ensures that she and I work together to make sure that our counselors, our personal counselors, work on the well-being of the students. She works and supervises the activities program. So that is clubs, that is student body councils. So all the grade level councils, the whole, as well as the spiritual life council and the green team and all the many clubs. She also works with campus ministry, and that runs all our spiritual and faith formation programming within the school. And and she does, as well as she oversees everything that has to do with attendance and discipline and academic integrity. And it's a big job, and we work together all the time to make sure that there is not the same way that there should not be separation between the departments. There should not be a separation from all areas of our students' life. We try to have things build upon each other and make sure that they're provided ample opportunities to take a chance, to seize the day, and to put into action in their life what they're learning in their classes, and that everything and all these connections are made. And we hope, super exciting. I won't use Mr. Cushing's euphemism of interesting. We're going to say that they're just the right amount of challenge, and just the right amount of opportunity. I think, does that cover it?
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Chaponot. Dr. Chaponot is actually going to hang, and she's going to help. As if you'll notice on the bottom of your screen, you should have a question and answer button, and we're hoping that you use that button throughout the remainder of our presentation, as I am going to walk you through, with my assistant Ashley, we're going to walk you through the application process. And I'm actually going to take you step by step through the web page, just so you can see where to get the most accurate and up-to-date information, and how to navigate that piece a little bit. But Dr. Chaponot is going to help moderate some of my questions here at the end, so that we can get as much answered as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what you're seeing here, this is our apply page. This is our home base. And so you can get to this by going to our normal URL, crondelettehs.org, and hitting the apply button here. And it'll take you to this landing page that really takes you everywhere else on our admissions website. So I would say one of the best places to start is our admissions step-by-step, which really takes you through all of the steps that you would need to apply and get through the application process here at Carondelet. So step one is visit. So if you have not yet, obviously you're doing your first step, which is coming to a virtual event. But if you would love the opportunity to come on campus, we are hosting some campus tours that you can sign up through our inquiry form. Space is very limited due to COVID restrictions, and those spaces fill up very quickly. So if you are interested in coming on campus and doing a little bit of a modified tour and meeting some of our faculty and staff, please follow the inquiry form link here and sign up for one of those events as soon as you can. Once you've checked us out, you feel like you have a good understanding, you've gone through the web pages, you've checked out all the info, the second step is going to be to apply. And I'm going to walk you through what the back end of that application looks like in just a minute. We also have the HSPT, our high school placement test exam, that students are going to take, and I'm going to cover that a little bit more as we get through. The other portions that you're going to need: recommendations, an interview, and then finally in March, the decision. And that decision will include any financial aid or any scholarship that you've applied for. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that application looks like. So let's see. Okay, so I have gone ahead and signed my 20-month-old daughter up for an application here at Carondelet, class of 2037, can't get started too early. So she has done the first thing, which is fill out an application form. And I'm going to let Miss Clemens, who pretty much oversees a lot of the paperwork side of the application, I'm going to let her jump in here and explain some of these different things that need to get uploaded in your application.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Miss Clemens. I'm the Assistant Director of Enrollment. And so I'm really here to kind of help you navigate through the different documents that you have, answer any questions, ease any concerns. So we'll just kind of get started by the list of what is on our checklist. So once you've actually submitted your application, I will process the application on the back end. And once I've processed your application, this will give you access to that checklist inside the application portal. So once you have access to your portal, you can start off by uploading a photo of your daughter. You can also upload a birth certificate. We do ask that it is in JPEG, PDF. I've seen PNG format specifically. And the reason being is because we do view this as a legal document. So I need to go through each birth certificate and just make sure that the name on the birth certificate aligns with the name on the application. So it does have to be legible, and that's why we ask for those specific formats. After you've done the birth certificate, you will then request recommendation forms from your daughter's eighth grade English teacher, 8th grade math teacher, and either her principal or her counselor. We suggest to do this around early November, just so they get to know your daughter well. They can speak to her academic performance. So you're not behind yet. So don't fret on that part. So the information you're going to need to request request the recommendation forms are the first name, last name, and email address of the English math teacher, principal, or counselor. So you will have to have that information in order to send off the request. A little note, we do require recommendation forms that they are specifically from her 8th grade math and 8th grade English teachers, just because they're really the ones that are able to speak to her academic performance. They work with your daughter regularly. So we do require that those two subjects are taken care of. But we will accept either a principal recommendation form or a counselor recommendation form. And if you have any unique circumstances, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly, and we'll kind of discuss if this is an issue. So once the request is submitted, you will then receive an email confirmation that you've sent it off. I also receive an email confirmation that you've requested the recommendation form, and then I will also receive an email confirmation once it is submitted. So something to note, though, is that once you send that recommendation request, you are kind of out of the equation in regards to, the recommendation form will not be going to you. It's going to be uploaded directly into her portal. And so I do want you to know, sometimes there is some confusion with English teachers or principals kind of not knowing exactly who the recommendation is from, because the language in the email looks like Mrs. Mix is pretty much requesting it on your behalf. So just to give you guys a heads up on that. But you can always check that, the progress of the recommendation forms by logging back into your application portal. And you will then see either a green check next to the form if it has been submitted. If it has not been submitted, though, make sure that you note you can resend the request using that green button right there. So we suggest, if you have not received or if the recommendation form hasn't been uploaded, to send them a little nudge probably before Thanksgiving break, just to give them a little bit of time, because you're always wanting to give as much time as possible if you're relying on someone else to turn it in. So just make sure to do that before Thanksgiving break. I'm just trying to make sure I touch upon everything. So also something to note is that you will request transcripts once the first semester is complete, because we do prefer the most up-to-date transcripts. So I think my end is covered. Like I said, if you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. My contact information is in the portal, and I definitely look forward to working with you guys on completing your daughter's application. So I'll hand it back to Mrs. Mix.
Thank you so much, Ms. Clemens. She does God's work on the back end of all of these applications. Just to reiterate her point, I know some people that have already turned in applications are early birds. Congrats to you. You've already sent your transcript and standardized test release form request, which is okay, but you may just want to talk to your school about not having them give us your transcript until you at least have one semester of 8th grade under your belt. Because at this point, they'll just be sending 7th grade records, and then they're going to have to send them again, back in January. So you might want to wait again on all of these recommendations and not send them until November, December, and give everybody about 2 months, because these are due on February 5th. The next part that I'm going to talk about, which is the other part of our checklist, is our HSPT exam and the interview. So there's 2 pieces to the HSPT exam. One, you need to sign up through the testing company, which is STS. And so built into your checklist, if you just copy paste this link here and post it in your browser, it'll take you directly to the Diocese of Oakland STS user registration. That page is not yet opened. It should open on October 7th, and I will send out an email to everyone as soon as that registration link becomes live. But this is where you're going to register with the testing company to actually take a spot to take the test. We are still in discussion about how that test is going to be administered. Obviously, due to safety protocols, If we are allowed to have it in person by January, we certainly will, and give students the option if they would like to take it online, we will work with you. If by January we're not in a space where we can have the test done in person, it will be in a virtual format. So go ahead and get signed up, and we will continue to communicate once things become more clear for safety protocols on that HSPT. Regardless, whether if it's in person or online, that test is going to take place on Saturday, January 9th at 8:30 in the morning. And again, you'll get more instruction. In both cases, whether it's online or in person, it will be proctored by an adult. So it's not like you take this on your own time. You will be in a Zoom, and adults will be on site to help if something should happen. And then the final part, after the recs are in, after you've taken your exam, the final part is the student and parent interview. And we schedule all applicants into these spaces. So there's no need to sign up for a time. As soon as the HSPT exam is complete on January 9th, that following week, I send out an email to all applicants and say, you have been scheduled for an interview on February 6th at this time. And we do them in half-an-hour intervals. Those interviews, we really try to not, pepper the girls with tons of questions and turn it into this interrogation. It is really about creating conversation and connection so that you walk away from the interview knowing, yeah, this feels like a good fit for me, just as much as we are saying the same thing as you're leaving the interview. It's your choice too. And so we really want to make sure that that interview feels comfortable. And it's just another touch point for us, for you to get your questions answered and for us to get our questions answered. So both students and parents are part of that interview. The first 15 minutes is just the student and the interviewer. The second 15 minutes is students, parents, and interviewer. And so, yeah, we've had many families that have been super nervous about that interview, but I think everybody typically walks away with a really positive experience and feeling actually like it was a fun day. So that interview is another really important part of our process. And again, if something happens and I schedule you into a time slot that doesn't work for you, I will work with you individually to change that or get you a different day. So once all of these mandatory pieces of the applications are clicked in green, your application is considered complete, and then you're waiting on us. All of these pieces up here, the applicant photo, the birth certificate, the standardized test, and transcript form, the recommendations, all of these will be checked off by actions you do. The bottom three here, registering for the HSPT exam, and the student parent interview, we will check these off internally since they are not connected to our system. So don't panic if you register for the HSPT and you don't immediately see a green check. Give us a little bit of a time to kind of process everybody who's registered. And if it's getting close to the application deadline and you still don't see a green check, then go ahead and reach out to us. Down here, we have the optional steps of the process. There's tuition assistance and scholarship information, which I'm going to get to next. And again, you can use this web page right here, copy and paste into your browser to get into that page. Tuition assistance and scholarship is a separate process. We keep it separate on purpose from the admissions process. So we do take you to a totally different site to do that. If your student has a documented learning need or a 504 or an IEP, you can request additional time on the HSPT. So if you are a student that qualifies for that and you have your necessary documentation, this is the space in your checklist where you're going to upload that information. And that goes directly to our Director of Student Support, who makes the determination, and then we'll work with you individually to say, yes, this qualifies for extended time, and so here are your instructions for the test. So I'm happy to walk any family through that process if you have any questions. And this accommodation is also due the same day that the application is due, which is December 11th. If your daughter is from a two-family home and you have a custody agreement, this is the place to upload that agreement just so we have it on file, and it's part of her record at school, so we know who's allowed to pick up students from campus, who's allowed to have access to their academic records. So please do that. And also, once you have created an application and you have access to your parent portal, you can then schedule any sort of event, admissions event on campus directly from your parent portal. So instead of having to fill out an inquiry every time, which I know is so lovely, you can instead just schedule directly from her parent portal. So again, that's what the back end of school admin looks like once you have started your application, and Ms. Clemens and I are happy to walk any of you through that process. So now that we have seen that piece, I am going to go ahead and take us to another fabulous topic, which is tuition and aid, which often comes up with families. So we have a tuition and aid page on the application, on our apply landing page. And this will walk you through all of the info you need to know to apply for tuition assistance, to see what our tuition costs this year, how it breaks out, all of that good stuff. If you are interested in applying for tuition assistance, please, please, please spend some time with this page. We use an outside company called Fax to do the processing of our tuition assistance forms. And so we work with them and we make the determination internally, but that is the first step, and they create the first assessment for us. So every student that is going to apply for financial assistance needs to go through the Fax process, and that does not open through Fax until December 2nd. And a big part of that is because you're going to need your 2020 tax documents, which we know most families don't get until January or February. So you're going to want to wait until you have those documents to completely finish. You can always get the application started, but those are going to be some of the documents you need to upload. Applications are going to be due Monday, February 15th. And if you have any questions, again, we keep the assistance process completely separate from admission, so I do not handle tuition assistance. But if you do need help, Terry Meehan is fabulous, and she will literally sit with every single person and walk them through the process. She'll have you come into her office. She'll walk you through step by step, COVID safe, of course. But her email is terrymeehan@crondeletths.org, and you can reach her at her extension 152. So please take some time and sit with this. And then on top of tuition assistance, we also offer scholarships. So we have 5 different scholarships that students can apply for. The first 3, students can directly apply, turn in an application, upload documents, and be part of the running. You can determine whether or not you want to be part of the running to receive one of these scholarships. The first of the 3 that you can apply for is the Heart, Faith, and Courage Award, and this is a mission-based award. This is specifically for students that are currently in a Catholic middle school, and the whole point being we want to see how you are already living the mission of the Sisters of St. Joseph. What are you doing on your campus? What are you doing in your community? How are you being inclusive and helping the dear neighbor? So all of that piece is really for this award. And the requirements would be to fill out the application, kind of answer some questions, and then you're going to need 2 letters of recommendation from people in your community that can speak to those pieces that you're referencing. So if you're very involved in community service, please have someone who has witnessed you do that upload or write your letter of recommendation for you. So we will open the application for that on December 2nd, the same day that financial assistance opens. And this will also be due the same day as tuition assistance, which is February 15th. We do give 3 awards in this category. The maximum award that we've given in this category is $7,500, and that is per year, and it is guaranteed for 4 years. So in total, that's actually a $30,000 scholarship by the time the student graduates from Crondelet. So we picked 3 winners. Not all will get $7,500. It's a range based on what the committee decides the amount will be, but the maximum amount is $7,500. That can go on top of any tuition assistance. So we do not determine the 2 together. Tuition assistance is determined and scholarships is determined separately. The second award that students can apply for is the Creativity in Visual and Performing Arts Award. So this is for students, we've had dancers turn this in, singers, theater, painters, cartoonists. A variety of students have applied for this award, and we've seen the gamut. And our art department actually picks the winners of this award, and they try to pick a variety of different types of arts that are represented. So again, in this case, you're going to fill out an application. You are going to upload the evidence of your art, as well as letters of recommendation for people that have witnessed you take part in whatever art it is. And again, same thing, open on December 2nd, application due on February 15th, and the maximum award, again, 3 awards given, maximum award of $7,500. The final award that students can apply for is our Innovation and Design Award. And this award is for, we've seen a ton of different things turned in for this award. It's really about showing that you can see a project through, project-based learning. How have you seen a problem and solved it? What were the things that you put in place to really innovatively solve through that problem? And so we've seen a variety of things. We've seen students turn in award-winning science fair projects that they've created. One, a couple years ago, we had a student who actually received the highest award. She challenged her school's uniform policy. And in doing that, she created an entire research project based around the history of the uniform. Why do people have uniforms? She polled parents, she polled alumni, she polled students, and she made graphical representations. She showed this to her school board, and she actually won. She got a long history of the uniform completely changed, and so they now have a totally new uniform code. But that showed innovative thinking. It showed design think, and it showed that she could use evidence to create a project and solve a problem. So this is a little bit of an open category, as long as you can show how have you used design think and what was your process in solving this problem. So evidence would have to be uploaded here as well, and then we would also need letters of recommendation. Same parameters, $7,500 max, 3 award winners, and guaranteed over 4 years. And then finally, we have 2 awards that are granted specifically by committee. And so these are not awards that students can apply for. These are awards that the internal scholarship committee uses the documents that you have uploaded through your application project or process to determine. The first one is the Presidential Scholarship, and this is a merit-based scholarship totally based on grades and HSPT scores. So that is a mathematical equation and a rubric that we use, and typically the top 15 students of grades and HSPT scores are awarded a scholarship in that category of differing ranges. Carondelet Awards are mission-based awards. And so these are awards that we give to students of varying amounts of money. It could be something that we heard from you in an interview that really struck a chord with an interviewer. It could be something that a teacher wrote about you in a recommendation letter that we say, wow, that is really, insightful and really on brand for the CSJ mission and what we want our students here to be doing. So there's a variety of ways through your application process that you can demonstrate how you could win one of these awards, but it's not something that a student would outright apply for. So it's based on a variety of factors. So those are the 5 awards that students can get on top of tuition assistance. And again, if you have questions about these, please don't hesitate to use the question and answer box, and I will get to those questions at the end. So I'm going to quickly, now that I've taken you through all the web pages, I'm going to quickly talk about how we select who is coming to Carondelet. I know a lot of students get nervous about that HSPT, and it is one of the factors that we use, but we use many factors. So I do not want students to feel this incredible amount of pressure about what HSPT score I get, and it's going to make or break me getting in. And that's just simply not the truth. We want to take students of varying levels, and we really want to make that class diverse, inclusive, and make our community more vibrant. So it is not simply going to come down to an HSPT test score. Recommendations are incredibly important to us. So that principal recommendation, those teacher recommendations are really important to give a picture of not only the type of person you are, but the type of learner, the type of student you are in class. The second piece is the interview. Asking great questions, creating a connection with that teacher that's interviewing you or staff member that's interviewing you. Hearing something that just resonates with us, that is a great fit for Carondelet. That carries a lot of weight. Your current grades. So keeping your grades up in your middle school right now, that's a really important piece. And then we do this piece called a school profile that we will send out a little bit later in the process, where we ask you to give us a little bit more information about yourself. And that's typically part of our testing process. So if you come to do that in person, you will fill out that school profile when you're here on campus. If we don't get to test in person, we will find another way to virtually get that school profile to you. But giving us a little bit of a window into why do you want to come to Carondelet? What do you think you can contribute to the community? What is it? What kind of special talents and gifts are you going to bring to our community? And how are you going to leave Carondelet a better person than you came? All of those things from that school profile are really important to us. And that's a big part of the of the decision as well, on top of those HSPT scores. So I hope that I've made it so you understand it is not simply a rank order of HSPT, and to kind of take the pressure off, to understand that we're looking for not only great students, but good people that will be a mission fit for Carondelet. So I think that's the end of my presentation. So I would love to get to the questions. So Ms. Clemens and Dr. Chaponot, what are some of the questions that I need to answer live?
I think there were a lot of questions about the HSPT.
Exactly.
Okay.
I was just going to say that.
Yes, and I understand that. So the HSPT is still being determined. So I literally, right before this webinar, just got out of a meeting with the Oakland Diocesan admissions directors. So I promise, as soon as we know whether that's going to be in person, whether that's going to be online, I will let you know ASAP, and I'm going to keep continuing to send out that information. We are going to have an HSPT prep course. I know that we had to cancel our practice test for 7th graders in the spring due to COVID, but we are working with a testing company that has created a virtual HSPT prep course for us. And so I will open registration for that prep course on our website tomorrow under events. You'll see an HSPT prep course registration, and families can sign up to take that. And that's a great opportunity to kind of see what's going to be on the test, have a couple practice tests. They're going to talk about test taking strategies to kind of bring the anxiety level down, so that students can feel more prepared.
And there were a few questions. Can you speak to the general application acceptance ratio? There's a few of the questions that came up in the chat.
Application acceptance ratio. Sure. I mean, it's different every year. I mean, we have some years where we're at 400 applications, some years where we are, at 300 applications. It really just kind of depends on, while the population in Contra Costa County for this age group stays pretty level, the boy to girl ratio does not. So in some years where De La Salle has a ton of boys applying, we're in a lower year, and vice versa. We have a ton of girls applying and there's less boys in 8th grade. I will say that our yield is very high. So if we accept a student, the likelihood of them coming to Carondelet is above 80%. So we really do not offer spots to many more than we can actually take in the class. And we usually shoot for about 200 to 210 students per class, but we are capped at 800 students that are allowed to be on campus. So that does determine how many students we can accept in the freshman class.
And then what is the diverse makeup of teachers at CHS?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head, but I think you could find that on the school profile. So if you look into our webpage and you go into info about Carondelet, the school profile is a breakdown of demographics. I believe our teacher makeup is in there as well.
Okay. And do you have any review books for HSBT that you can recommend?
I do not have any review books, but I would say, if you are at all concerned, please sign up for that HSPT prep course. They do share materials, and if they have materials for us, we're going to mail them to families in advance. We don't own those materials, so unfortunately we can't share them. But if you sign up for the class, then we do have the ability to share those test materials for you. But I have not personally seen any HSPT prep books, but they, who knows? I'm sure they're out there.
And then I can answer this one. In regards to extra recommendations, we will create an upload in your application portal for you to include any extra recommendations that you would like to include in your application. So all you would do is you would log into your application, upload the recommendation letter, or letter of recommendation, I guess I should say, and then that will be included in her application.
And then I see a question here about learning support. We do have a very robust learning support program. Actually, Dr. Chaponot, do you mind talking a little bit more about our learning support program?
Absolutely. Yes, we have an academic and learning support team. That team meets weekly with 2 groups, our department chairs, and also once with members of the student life team, because again, remember when we said we were talking about the connections, we want to make sure that we look at all aspects for all our students. We also work with families specifically when students come in with accommodations or IEPs, or should they need to get support so that their children, their daughter would be tested. we support to make sure that the district does not slow down the process and that the students get the support that they need. Our goal with any support program is to build actionable and incremental systems that allows a student to become extraordinarily autonomous within the paradigms of their support, so that by the time they get to university, they are ready to navigate the complicated world of extended testing and all the things that come with support structures, and that they know how to advocate with themselves. But we make sure that they feel confident and comfortable doing that, and we have a class for them, and we make sure that they have a case manager that stays with them over the course of the 4 years that they're here.
Thank you, Dr. Chaponot. I do see a question that families had. Was the HSPT given on January 9th or January 11th? It is January 9th. I have it on our pages of January 9th, but I'll double check and see if we maybe have that listed incorrectly somewhere, but it is Saturday, January 9th. And let's see, I saw a question on here about what are the hours that campus is open. All the time, it feels like. We have students that come here literally from 6 a.m. and when the Garaventa Center is open and we're serving breakfast to students and staying for sports or games or whatever it is till 9:30, 10 p.m. at night. So we really do have students and adults on campus all day long. And then I see a question about students coming in from public schools. For information, I would say it's about, our demographic really breaks out to about 50-50. So we have about 50% of our students coming from Catholic support schools, about 25% coming from independent schools, and about 25% coming from public. And those are very rough numbers, so don't quote me. But that's generally how it breaks down. Students from public schools tend to transition well. We do a lot to make sure all students feel comfortable and feel like that transition is something that they, can accomplish. We know it is a step up from middle school, but we prepare for that in our curriculum. And so we have students coming from over 55 different middle schools into our freshman class every year. So we get that we're getting a range of students. Let's see. Yes, someone asked if our daughter had a conflict and couldn't join. No problem. We are recording this and we will be posting this online for families to go back and get the information that they need and for students to watch as well. And then Mr. Cushing, this one's for you. How many College of the Siskiyous credits can a student earn while in high school?
So I need to double check. I believe it's 23, but we really don't get to that number. We typically offer 5 humanities-based classes that we offer on a rotating basis to get to 15 units, just because that's what's manageable within our scope and sequence of courses, and the humanities, because the courses are online and those lend themselves, 1, towards ease of use, and 2, we found those courses that are most transferable to most colleges around the country. So we've got a very specific focus of what we offer.
Thank you. And I think we have time for one more question. I see what clubs are there at school, and my best answer for this is what clubs are there not at school. We have I think 50 different clubs available to students, and they are all driven by student interest. So we've had from the Donut Aficionados Club all the way to French Honor Society. So we have honor societies, we have service-based clubs, like I said, student interest clubs, affinity groups. So lots of things, some single gender clubs, some co-ed clubs, lots of different things. And if there's a club that we don't have, which I don't know how at this point, a student can certainly start it on their own. We are going to have 2 other town halls, one specifically on academics. And so Dr. Chaponot will be leading that with some members of her department chair team to kind of go through the subject matter and really answer those questions for you that are very academic specific. And then we will also have a separate town hall about student life and athletics. So to talk about the other components of that whole child experience that you receive at Carondelet and get your questions answered there as well. If we did not get to answer your question, we will try to reach out individually and get that answered. If we miss you, please do not hesitate to email myself or Ms. Clemens, and we will get you the answer that you need. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your time. And again, please reach out. We hope to see you on campus soon. And please sign up for a tour, another event, and look forward to getting to meeting your family. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night.